Today on Outside the Box Reviews, Giant Monster Monday. Since my voice is still crappy, I figured I'd review some figures from a crappy movie. Today we're looking at the Trendmasters Godzilla 1998, Hammertail and Spikejaw. And to be quite honest, until I started trying to find the names of these things for this review, I had no clue they actually had names. I just assumed they were the Godzilla 1998 eggs. Now, of course, these things would be boring if they were just eggs. So just like in the film, we could have them hatch out of their shells, some a little more excitedly than others. And this actually wasn't a bad idea on Trendmasters' part. They made several baby Godzilla figures, or Zilla figures, I guess we could call them now, to go in with their action figures of the human cast. So these would be in scale with those. I never picked any of those ones up, but these would actually work. And there were some larger, more grown-up babies that looked more like they did actually in the film. But let's go ahead and crack the shell on these guys and take a closer look. Taking a look at the eggs themselves, I think they actually did a pretty good job sculpting these. They're both the same sculpt. They kind of have that gooey texture, I don't even know what that was supposed to be in the movie, but the kind of slime that was covering them sculpted on there. You can see parts where it's just the eggshell showing through, both on the front and back. A little more speckled looking here on the front. I think it's supposed to be where you can almost kind of see into the egg, but it's not translucent at all. Both eggs have a similar paint job, but they are a little different. Just the wash was kind of applied a little differently. Some colors are a little different, but overall the exact same thing. And then here on the bottom we can see there is a little button that you could push to activate the gimmick, and the bottom itself, nothing really special there. The inside of the egg is equally bland. They did do some detailing and paint work down here at the base where the Godzilla creature sits. There's actually little indentations for his feet, and these little bars here that actually hold the feet in place. And then that's our actual plunger right here in the back that will actually allow Godzilla to rocket out of here. And every time I call these things Godzilla, I cringe a little bit. And just like we got two identical eggs, we get two identical, sculpted at least, little creatures here, little baby Zillas, and they just have different paint jobs on them. This yellow one here is Spikejaw, and we can see they did a really nice job sculpting it. I think it actually looks pretty cool. It doesn't look a lot like the baby in the movie. The larger figures they did, the individually just plain old baby Godzilla figures they created for the movie, look a little more like the ones you see in the film. They have a little larger heads, they stand a little taller, but almost as a generic raptor looking thing, this is pretty cool looking. There's some good detail on the head, some nicely sculpted scales, a little spinal ridge coming down the back. See his little dinosaur feet there, claws, and his tail comes wrapped around permanently because back here we have the pin which will go into that plunger on the bottom and launches him out of the base. This figure they did a pretty cool paint job with. He's yellow on the bottom and it kind of fades to this brownish in the middle with a red top to it. Hammertail here is a dark purple, and I actually really like this color. This is my favorite of the two color wise, but he has this very dark kind of red underneath, and they painted some darker purples on top. It almost gives him a lava like effect, and then he's a little paler here on the bottom. But as I said before, same sculpted detail going on. These figures do have a little bit of articulation. They can swivel at the leg, they can swivel at the arm, and their jaw will open, revealing a nice little pink tongue in there. Now, it's hard to get these guys posed in any way that really makes sense. The best you could really do is to move his legs out under him and have him kind of like this in kind of a stalking pose. But really, they're just meant to sit upright so they can be launched at the egg. And to get him ready for launch, you just take the egg itself. You'll have the hole on his tail with the little plunger back there. One thing I forgot to mention here is there is a slight difference in the egg. Spikejaw does not have any foot traps in his. However, Hammertail does. These little plates here that cover up the feet, so when he does launch out of the base, he doesn't go flying quite as much as Spikejaw. But you'll just line up his feet. If the foot plates are there, you'll just slide them underneath, find the tail, peg that in place. And there's a tab at the bottom of the egg and a little latch at the top. Clip it together. It's a very loose fit. As I already mentioned, we got the button back there. Take it and press it, and he comes tumbling out. And for a size comparison, here is Hammertail next to another child of Godzilla, Godzilla Jr. Now, granted, these guys aren't nearly in scale with each other because Hammertail would probably be, at best, 6 feet tall. As portrayed in the movie, I'm guessing the scale he's in here, he'd probably be maybe 4 or 5 feet tall at best. And Godzilla Jr. is the size of a small building. But still, kind of fun to see these two next to each other. And overall, I have to say, neither of these toys are particularly great as an adult collector. figure, but as a kid's toy, they're pretty mindlessly fun. There actually is some decent paint work done on these figures. They're not very well articulated, but they're a gimmick figure, and honestly, I don't really expect gimmicky figures to have that much articulation on them. The eggs themselves, I think, look pretty good. They look a lot like they did in the movie, with that membrane over them, and the paint job's pretty intricate, both on the figures and the eggs. So as goofy as these guys are, I actually think I'm gonna recommend them, give them that cult classic status. I guess that's a more appropriate one. That's why I started doing that on these Giant Monster Mondays, was to give them a recommend without really having to recommend them. I think that's probably where these guys fit best. Not the best figures by far, and not from a great movie, but definitely fun in their own right. And if this had been like Jurassic Park and these had been raptors coming out of raptor eggs, I would have no real reason to complain about it. It would be an equally awesome figure and still be something I enjoyed. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, it's been our Outside the Box Reviews, Giant Monster Monday. Stay tuned for more to come.